Hello, folks. Well, today I am going to record and present this video on embracing AI in the music classroom. So I did this presentation in February at our state music teaching convention and wanted to just put it out there. This is meant to be like an introduction of broader things, broader ways I use AI to help my teaching. And then I want to do some more videos later on that go into great detail. So this is an overview, gonna move kind of quick. And then again, I'm going to record some more videos to get into the nitty gritty of hopefully each of these things. So we're going to switch over to the presentation. I will point out a few things here as we start up. The presentation was made in February, and as technology is quick to change, certainly AI is, things have changed. So even if I were to update it now and send the recording, publish the recording next week, it would be out of date. It moves fast. So I apologize for things that are out of date on this. Not totally the point, because it's, again, an overview. Also, you'll see that I used AI to help me with this entire presentation. I used AI to help me plan the presentation. I used AI to create images like the one that you're seeing here. And you'll see that is good. It's going to have some drawbacks as well as the positives. The positives were that it saved me a bunch of time. Drawbacks being that some of the things you're going to see, like this image, for example, is kind of weird. And it was weirder. Different iterations of it were weird. So the title of the presentation is Embracing AI, Save Time, Boost Efficiency. And you can see that we got embracing, save time, boost, I think that's the word, efficiency. And when I got that, I was like, hey, I'm going to use this for a presentation slide. So can you give me a whole slide? So it gave me the whole slide, not just an image, but it also gave me the presenter. So I said, hey, I don't need the presenter in this. I just need the slide. And AI is like, okay, got it. So they took the presenter out, left the podium, changed a few things, added a sound shield. So this was on Canva. So I went to another, this was on ChatGPT. So then I went to Canva and I said, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Nice image. You can see embracing is spelled incorrectly. And that wasn't my error. That was the error that the AI made. So then I went to Gemini and I said, hey, Gemini, can you create one for me? Pretty good looking slide. It's bracing spelled correctly. The title spelled correctly, but then it added FIPS more, and I'm still looking for someone to tell me what FIPS more is. So when I was planning this presentation, one of the reasons I wanted to do this was I do think there's resistance by people, and some of it is adequate or makes sense. So there's resistance to using AI in all ways, but a lot of it isn't. And it reminded me of this quote that's attributed to Socrates, and I don't even believe that people will say that it's his quote. But when talking about writing, this is how Socrates felt. I think we're always resistant to changes, especially when it comes in the form of tools or technology. And I think that we should cautiously move forward. I do think there are some reasons to be concerned with the use of AI, but we should move forward because it's good. It's here to stay. I don't see it going away anywhere. And if you feel strongly about some of those drawbacks, then you should be looking to help. I'm going to move on. So this next thing, this was created by Sora. I thought this was kind of beautiful in a way because when creating a presentation on technology, as I mentioned before, it changes constantly. And so I said, Sora, create me a video of someone that's creating something that's constantly changing. And this is kind of how I felt at times. And to be honest, still do feel at times, because AI is constantly changing. Technology is constantly changing. It's so hard to keep up. I'm starting to feel like the old guy in my mid 40s now, that I'm not always on top of things, but it is the way of the world. So you'll see at the bottom of any of these slides what tools I used to create slides. I won't point it out too much, maybe every once in a while. So here's some tips I have. First of all, when you're communicating with AI, if you're a newbie at it, or even if you have some experience, be clear and specific. Provide context. Break it down. This is one big one for me. Give me one steep at a time. But a lot of times when I've asked AI to help me with something, it will give me the entire 20 steps in detail. So asking it, hey, I just need one thing at a time, or I need one question at a time, we'll follow up on when that comes into play. Follow up with it. So it's like your web browser, but you can ask it questions. Use AI for single tasks. I'm going to talk maybe about this later, but I had AI plan out my 5th grade lesson schedule this last year. The students, their homerooms. This is how I want you to organize them, and it did it beautifully. Really, only a few changes. So I was like, great. So I'm going to do this with my 6th grade. For us, 6th grade scheduling of lessons gets a little bit more complicated. There's some more do not touch times, with math and different things, and it was too much for AI to get correct, and it made a load of mistakes. So it seems counterintuitive, because shouldn't AI be able to do all that? But for some reason, at least right now, it doesn't do that kind of thing where there's too many variables. Maybe is a good way to point it out. Look at that. Use for single tasks, fewer variables. And the last one, remember, AI follows instruction exactly. My best analogy for this is my copy machine at school. I oftentimes get mad at it because it didn't duplicate, or it did duplicate and I didn't want it to. And really, I'm mad at myself because it's my instructions to the printer, the computer, the copy machine that were off base, right? So, all right. So here's some things I do with AI to help with organizational tools. So this last year, I created Alex. That was my email go-to. Like when I needed to send an email to my 5th grade band, I would type in 5B email. If it's my 8th grade band, 8B email, whatever. And then I have a series of questions, usually pretty simple, that the AI asks me. Once I type in that cue, I taught it how to do this. And so I answer those 4 questions in that quick little statement below, and then I get this email. Now, some things that I'll point out. Let's go over the positive first. This is a nice looking email that has all the information people need, but it's professional. It's not the quick thing that I ripped out there. It's got my signature at the bottom, and it has all the useful information. Now, this is learn from my stupidity. Check that email. Go through it. I had sent out several confusing emails to my family with conflicting information because I had taught the AI something. In this case, it was the date and time of a performance. I had taught it incorrectly in my initial teaching of it, and it remembered that information great, but it was incorrect. And there's other things that can pop up too. I think the biggest thing maybe being that's not exactly how I'd like it worded. That gets better over time as your prompts get better over time. This is one that might create some concern for people. And certainly school districts will have policies based on what kind of information can you give AI. I took this list on the left. Actually, you can see it's a made up student roster. Had AI make that up. And that's my information that I have for my students on the left. In the middle then is I was like, hey, I need these listed in score order. No, this is no explanation to me what score order is, but boom, it's in score order. And then that last one, I'm going to take my picture away for a second. It is, hey, I need it in score order, but I need it to be last name, comma, first name. That's a huge time saver if you're like me in different scenarios, call for different organization of that information. So great tool for that. I did this again with made up students. I haven't actually used it like this, but I thought maybe somebody would want to. It has all of my students in a saved GPT, my personal GPT that I created. This is more theoretic because this is not a real student. And I said, now I could get information that I need from it. Like, show me a list of all the 7th grade flute players. And in this made up list, there's only one. That would be a tragedy for me in my band program. Not true. So, great for organizing that information. Then I just kind of wanted to throw at something just odd, just to show you that how it does process simple tasks that have. It's like the task is simple, but the time that we'd have to take to do this simple task over and over again takes a lot of time. AI does that quickly. Maybe that's a good breakdown of AI. So I said, hey, I want a list of all my 7th graders where their first name is alphabetically before their last name. Who wants that information? But just to show you the kind of things that it can draw from. I was presenting at my convention, and it was like the night before, and I was thinking a really good tool for use of AI, especially at the start, can be just a more dynamic web browser. And here's what I mean by dynamic search engine. We could do the one on the left in Google very easily. I'm at the Minneapolis Convention Center. I want to eat. What's around me? Boom. Those are the options. But now it has that information that I asked it for. And I said, hey, I was thinking of something spicy. So they found a mesa and agave to use, I guess. Okay. And then I said, hey, my friend doesn't want spicy. She just wants to grab a coffee. What's on the way to mesa and agave? So again, just a showing of like how it could be used as a more dynamic web browser as well. Going to keep on moving right now. Remember, I said it's going to be a real quick overview. This is something I've been wanting to do for my classrooms for a long time. And I honestly feel like for me, my skill set and my time, I couldn't have done this before AI. So I want my 8th grade band to be self-assessed, either entirely or it's a component of their grade. You pick your poison, so to speak there. So I had AI help me with 100% of this. I have my ideas that are not necessarily always organized. I put it into something like ChatGPT. It really helps me organize those things that are in my head. So even though AI wrote what you're seeing as the 8th grade self-assessment, that's a form that my students had to fill out at midterm and end of quarter. And they learn what this, I love 4-point rubrics, could do a whole thing on those too. But they learn, that's how I'm grading myself. They fill out the form and I get this spreadsheet, which is great. It's good data. Well, what am I going to do with this data? They did give themselves a grade over here on the side. So what am I going to do with this data? Well, first thing I wanted it to do, I blocked out a bunch of this information because I didn't think it was good to share some of the real student information that I have here. So the data that I got for the student self-assessments in the same spreadsheet, it's a different sheet in that spreadsheet that has all my parents, all their parents' contact information. So here it would have the student name, mom, or this one would be dad's email, mom's email, and if there's a third one. I got this off of our school, demographics or whatever, grading book thing. Okay, so that's the second. So there's a spreadsheet that has, again, I'm going to go in this more detail, but I'm going to try to be quick right now. One spreadsheet that has that self-assessment. Second spreadsheet has mom and dad's email address that's connected with the student name. So I had told AI what I wanted to do next. It whipped out these great formulas that I put into a third sheet that now takes the student name, finds it on the data spreadsheet with mom and dad's emails, and then it says, this is mom and dad's emails, student name. Here is the original self-assessment from the student. Then I use a program called Formule, and I create a form letter. Pretty easy using that data. Again, AI helped me a ton with this. Asked it lots of questions as I was setting it up. I am not an expert in this kind of stuff. I'm not an expert in like this kind of coding. AI helped me do this. So if I hit a point for you where you're already like, oh, I can't do that, I'm telling you, I can't either. AI did it. I told AI what I wanted it to do. That was even for finding formula. I didn't even know how to get to that point. Okay. And then it takes all this student data from that spreadsheet and it sends mom and dad this message from their student and their self-assessment and their grade. I freaking love this. It's unbelievable. It's automated too. I didn't make it automated. You can make it automated. And so what I mean by that is you could set certain parameters when they're met. It just sends the message out. It's great. Okay. So my next step with this, by the way, is with Formule uses HTML. I don't know how to code HTML. I doubt people know how to do it like this. But that's what it uses to, make emails look better. So now, after I told AI what I wanted it to do, and it created a form letter now that looks like this. Every parent gets this once the student fills out the self-assessment. This is unbelievable. And it can keep on being tweaked. I added school colors in to some emails, and I highlighted certain things. It's unbelievable. Okay. So another thing that I came across was I have these lists of student names, and I really like name tags, especially at the beginning of the year. But when a sub's coming to, I like students to have name tags on their music stands. And I've written them out by hand. I have done all kinds of things with them to get them in. Well, I told AI what I wanted it to do, and it said, hey, why don't you open up your spreadsheet, open up AppScript, type all this stuff in, and in the end, I get these. It went to so I have this AppScript that takes the names in my spreadsheet and puts them into their own slide in a slideshow. And now I can print these off and I have name tags exactly how I want them for students. I love this. Love it. Going to use it so much this summer prepping for the school year. All right. This is one that I really love because this is something that I could really stand on my high horse about this. So first thing I'll tell you is I've used and I will continue to use AI to help me in grant writing. I think that this is a good example of I could use this poorly and even with bad intentions. Grant comes up. I say, AI, I want you to write a grant for me so I can send it off. And I don't pay any attention. It writes it and it sends it off with false information in it, whatever. I don't think AI should be used like that. Instead, here is how I used it. I don't consider myself a grant writer. I'm not a great writer in the first place. I feel like I have really good ideas and I feel like my students can benefit from the grants that are available out there. So I had the idea that I wanted to start a bugle club and I wanted the Bugle Club to have 2 nice bugles to play for ceremonies. And I input the entire grant application into ChatGPT as a PDF. And I said, ask me questions that will help us fill out this grant application one at a time for the questions. And it did that, and it asked follow-up questions. It got clarity, and then it wrote out in the format that the organization wanted my entire grant proposal. It's true information. It is my idea. I'm just using AI to help me write it, and I got the grant. I also had an idea to get a robot for our classroom called a ClickBot, and so I wrote a proposal for that as well with ChatGPT's help, and I got that. I maybe would have got them anyway. The proposals would have essentially said the same thing, but the AI version, it's written better. It took me a lot less time. Hey, you can use it to write proposals for your MMEA presentation or whatever convention you want to speak at. So here you will see I wanted to present this information at our state convention, and I did. And I wrote this message to the person that's in charge of this aspect of the teaching presentations, and had ChatGPT whip up this nice email that asked the questions I needed to ask. When I needed to officially apply, I did the same thing. I copy and pasted all the information that I needed into ChatGPT, answered its questions one by one. You could see here its cues to me and my responses. And then you get a final, this is the presentation proposal. In the same format that it was originally given, copy and paste, boom, it's gone. It's all my thoughts. ChatGPT's helping me organize them. So moving on to things like image creation. So I got really crazy with this. I think that this is the one that probably would bring the most people to the table, being like, oh, this is essentially stolen somehow, that ChatGPT can scan cartoon images and then create images based on that. And I get that. I'm not going to try to justify it right now. I'm still kind of struggling with it myself. But at the very least, you could see that these are great images that I used in my student handbooks. So for example, this is some screenshots of my student handbooks that I give out every year. Now they look really cool. Here is a big one for me. I think, like all teachers, I have a lot of information, a lot of scheduling stuff to organize. I would say, especially as a band director, there's so many things that we need to find time for, either on a weekly basis, or it's that, the program needs to get done this week for the concert. So I've always struggled with time management since I was a little kid, and needed something to help me out. Motion is the greatest thing that I've done for my productivity. So first of all, I'll say that Motion is an AI scheduling tool, basically. It does a lot of stuff. It's meant for big teams. I use it just for me. It syncs with my Google Calendars. So I've got my personal calendar, I've got my school schedule and my lesson schedule. As you can see, this is a shot of my one of my weeks. And it's got all my lessons and everything in there. I could set up tasks like pick music for the next concert. I can assign a date and priority. I'm playing a lot with templates right now. So if I punch in that I've got a concert in November, I've created a template of all the things I need to do for the concert and when they need to get done. Oh, I don't think I'm going to forget to tape seats this next year because it's in my template. It will tell me the day of my concert to take 10 minutes to go tape seats for the students. It prioritizes based on deadlines. that's, I think, where the AI really comes into play, is it's able to say, hey, this thing has a high priority and the deadline is coming up soon, so it needs to be prioritized. And as list makers will tell you, the most satisfying thing to me is that little circle right there. I click it, it turns green, and then the whole thing vanishes because I did my job. This one's really cool and has some possibilities to it, I guess. I've enjoyed using AI as kind of like a teaching partner to bounce lesson and project ideas off of, and then to help me organize my thoughts. So one of the things I want to do for my students this year was create an escape room. These are images and videos created by AI, by the way, not real students. And if you watch the video really closely, you'll see moments when people do things inhuman. Anyway, so I started getting some bouncing ideas around with AI on how to do this. Then I purchased some locks and found some locks in boxes. And with AI's help, I created a story that my students could use to help solve the boxes. And AI knew the puzzle pieces, like it was a cryptex was one of them. And we came up with the answer was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So students had to figure out what a melody was that when it was written down. Most of it is like has aspects of things we've covered in the classroom. And in fact, that's the thing I'm really looking forward to next year. Is I'm going to use escape rooms as kind of an end of project assessment or end of unit assessment. If we learned about in beginning band, if we learned about staccatos and forte and the first 6 notes, those can be aspects of the escape room that I just have AI help me with. Okay, that was too much on that. We're going to keep on moving. I had my students help me with spring concert planning. I used AI to create a talent and interest survey. Used that survey to put kids into teams, created daily assignments and checklists. Again, this is all stuff I'm capable of doing. It's in my head, but getting it organized so that other people can understand it. I need AI for that. This is changing my teaching. Okay, here's another really cool one. Another one that might spark some controversy, but Udio is an AI music generation tool. I'm just going to tell you, it's really cool and fun to play with. You can very much do it for free. Moving on. Okay, so really fun little thing I'm going to show you is a coworker of mine took our school song and said, can you write it as a chill acoustic with a female singer? And it sounds like this.
Maroon and gold, we fling your banners high, sing loud and long your praises to the sky. Maroon and gold, we'll love you till we die. Hoorah, rah, rah, for good old Fergus High.
That's pretty cool, right? I just noticed an audio problem while I was recording this, so hopefully this is all working out well, or I'll be doing it again. So yes, there's going to be all kinds of issues with this. So I want to tell you about how I've used it, and or even some ideas on how you can use it. So I had a coworker that has students that have different jobs. Like it's Tommy's job to read announcements, and my screen keeps on moving here. And so I think it's this. No, this is something else. So this song is Tommy's walk-up song. It's pretty great, right? So when Tommy needs to come up, his walk-up song comes. Some other ideas for this. Sorry, I got some audio technical stuff going on. It threw me off my game. Okay, I did a unit with my general music class in which they learned a little bit about song form. Maybe ABA or something like that. And I had them use Udio to write an autobiographical song about themselves in the musical style that they wanted. They did a little kind of Mad Libs thing, fill in the blank, to help them write it. Or some of them wrote it on their own. And it was an awesome little project. And we, at the end of it, after all the kids wrote their songs, we did like a show and tell, where we tried to guess whose song it was. Super fun. If you wanted to have this program write you a soundtrack for a scene for something you're doing, especially in class, a music composition challenge. This was kind of interesting to me. It's such a cool thing that AI came up with, and that I want to try to find a place for. Was a music composition challenge. What if what if Mozart wrote music for heavy metal? Isn't that great? Love it. Creating jingles, even that's maybe something outside of music class and getting into video productions. But anyway, I also think that this is such a good place to acknowledge, again, there's some problems with AI. One of them is AI and creativity and how they're, what's the word? I don't know. Potentially conflicting with each other. You could use this to have that debate. Okay, we're going to keep on moving because I got lots more to talk about. So the next thing is, real quickly, you saw it already in play, customizing ChatGPT and in other things, but that's just the thing I love the most. You can customize it to do specific tasks. And so an example of that I used already is the email. I created that email assistant. I've also got a curriculum assistant that helps me kind of flesh things out a little bit better. I told it what I wanted from it, made it a little snarky even, which I liked. Here's one. So I do some church music and we use OnSong to read our lead sheets. And OnSong has a specific formatting to those lead sheets. And I can put almost anything. I have taken lyrics and chords from CCLI and just said, put this into the right formatting, and it does it. I've purchased PDFs of the music, and I needed it to be lyrics and chords without the piano accompaniment. It does it. It's amazing. I'm probably getting lucky because I can't believe that one worked actually, but it did. I've got that robot, that ClickBot. I've got a ChatGPT specifically that's set up to help me with managing, like, how do you do this with the ClickBot, but also in helping create assignments for students when that's needed. I think that ChatGPT, it's had its ups and downs with performance, and sometimes it gets updated and it's not great for a little bit, just like when everything gets updated. I think it's temporarily going to be the new Google. We're going to use it. You see it as like I mentioned earlier, as a dynamic search browser. I think eventually Google's going to overtake them because there's things with Gemini that you could do, like on my personal account. I can't do it with my school account right now, but it's integrated into the Google Suite. It does text and image generation, can perform a range of tasks. Once that's stabilized and the language model is just as good as ChatGPT's, because I don't think it is right now, I think Gemini is going to be the thing, because once there's an AI that has access to my information in my drive, I know it scares some people. I get super excited. It's going to be colossal. It's going to be huge to be able to go to your AI and say, write an email to my coworker that takes information from this spreadsheet and whatever else I might need. It's, oh boy. This is one I'm not going to show you right now. I'm going to tell you about and then try to figure out how I can show you. Go try Google AI Studio. It does a lot of stuff. You could create your own AI bot in there. What I've used it for is the share my screen. So I will share my screen, and it can see what's on my screen. So I've used it in Finale when I couldn't figure out how to. I can't remember what it was. Couldn't figure out how to do this. I shared my screen, and it looks, it understands, and it tells you where to go. I was setting up a new pedal for my guitar board, and I put the setup thing on my screen and shared my screen with Gemini, and asked it questions as I was setting up the board. It could read the PDF of the directions. This is going to be a big one. It's the reason I think that Google and Gemini are going to replace ChatGPT as the greatest here eventually. This is one that there's some free aspects to Brisk Teaching. I think that if you teach in a more traditional classroom than a music ed classroom, you would find great use for this. So I want to just touch on it real quick. So what Brisk does is it does things like this, where it created these slides. And it created these slides based on a video I found on YouTube that it was introducing Brisk to people. So I found this video on YouTube, and I had already set up Brisk, and I asked it to create a slideshow based on the video. And so everything you're seeing here, with some minor edits by me, was created from Brisk looking at that video. It could do lots of stuff in teaching. I don't really see how, for me, it's all that different from just using ChatGPT, but it can change reading levels of documents, websites, generate feedback for student work, create lesson plans, quizzes, and exemplars. Detect AI usage in writing projects. I bet it doesn't do it very good. And so much more. It can help you create resources. The AI detection capabilities, I doubt. Okay. I don't use this one really ever. There's been a couple things. There's been a couple of videos that I'm like, oh, I'd like to have like an outline of this video because I'm going to teach something on it, and that'll help. There's been a few things like that. Certainly go check it out. I might talk about it more later in another video. Okay. Cannot ignore that there are potential concerns. And so I just want to say before we end this video that I know that there's a concern on the environmental impact because of the high energy consumption for AI training, like training the bots or whatever. I don't know why it's high energy. It just is. I know that there's artist rights. There's copyright infringement concerns. It's real. We have to have the conversation, though. We have to figure it out. AI, because again, AI is not going anywhere. Let's figure this out. Okay. This is a big one. It's not 100% accurate. You cannot count on it to be 100% accurate. It is not a resource for like real research. It's not a resource of infallibility, I guess, in the end. I know that there's some concerns over job displacement, and then obviously responsible use. I know those things are out there. I want to just acknowledge that for my purposes in doing this, I'm kind of ignoring that stuff. It's not really my thing to talk about things like that. So whatever. Okay, we're gonna move on. So I'm going to finish with this. I had AI help me with this, but I think it's great. So if you can remember chat, clearly state what you need, help it with context, ask one step at a time, tweak and follow up. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff. Like I mentioned before, I am going to dive into a lot, if not all of this stuff more, and give step by step. But I wanted to at least record this and say there's some really good uses for this. You should be considering this. So consider checking out AI and using it to help your life get a little bit easier.